These trucks weren't built for speed or luxury. They were built for survival. From icy forests to rugged mountains, they could go where others failed. Today, we're counting down 10 insanely capable off-road trucks that still impress decades later. Get ready to see machines designed for extremes, not convenience. Number 10. MOWAG Duro 1. In the 1980s, the Swiss military faced a challenge common to countries with rugged terrain. They needed a transport vehicle that could operate reliably in mountains, snow, and rough forests while carrying troops, equipment, and supplies with minimal support. Swiss engineers at MOWAG responded with the Duro 1, introduced in 1984, a tactical 4x4 truck designed for durability, mobility, and versatility in extreme environments. Unlike conventional trucks, the Duro 1 combined a compact yet rugged chassis with advanced off-road engineering, allowing it to tackle terrain that would stop most military vehicles. Over the next decade, it became a critical asset for Swiss forces and several other nations, praised for its reliability, ease of maintenance, and all-terrain performance. Despite being a military truck, the Duro's design emphasized efficiency and adaptability, making it capable of functioning in roles ranging from troop transport to communications and emergency response. Underneath its robust exterior, the Duro 1 was engineered for maximum off-road capability. Its all-wheel drive system provided full traction at all times, complemented by a central differential with lock to ensure grip on ice, snow, or mud. The truck was powered by a turbocharged diesel engine, delivering strong torque ideal for climbing steep inclines or pulling heavy loads. The chassis used a modular frame design, allowing for rapid repair or replacement of components in the field. Independent suspension on all wheels gave the Duro remarkable articulation and stability, while large tires, high ground clearance, and optimized weight distribution allowed it to overcome obstacles that would halt larger, heavier vehicles. The cab and cargo areas were designed to accommodate personnel or equipment efficiently, with protection against harsh weather and rough terrain, making the Duro as functional as it was capable. What truly set the MOWAG Duro 1 apart was its performance in real-world service. Swiss military units deployed it across alpine regions, snowbound valleys, and forested terrain, where reliability and traction were non-negotiable. Its ability to carry soldiers and supplies over unpaved trails, ford streams, and climb steep inclines without mechanical failure earned it a reputation for toughness and dependability. Civilians also recognized its utility, with some units adapted for firefighting, rescue missions, and extreme expedition work. Operators often described the Duro 1 as precise, controlled, and nearly unstoppable, a vehicle that inspires confidence in even the harshest conditions. Decades later, many Duros remain in active use, a testament to Swiss engineering and a reminder that true off-road capability is built from smart design, durability, and mechanical excellence. The MOWAG Duro 1 proves that a tactical vehicle can combine practicality, resilience, and extraordinary mobility, making it one of the most capable off-road trucks of its era. Number 9. Steyr-Puch Haflinger. In the shadow of the Austrian Alps during the late 1950s, engineers at Steyr-Daimler-Puch faced a unique challenge: how to create a vehicle that could go anywhere, climb anywhere, and survive in the harshest mountain terrain. The Austrian army required a replacement for its aging World War II-era vehicles, but traditional trucks were far too heavy or clumsy for alpine passes. Out of this need was born the Steyr-Puch Haflinger, named after a hardy breed of alpine horse renowned for endurance and sure-footedness. Introduced in 1959, the Haflinger was designed to be light, balanced, and exceptionally agile. Over the next 15 years, more than 16,000 units were built, and its influence spread well beyond Austria, reaching Europe, Asia, Australia, and Africa. Despite its small size and toy-like appearance, the Haflinger became a mechanical marvel that could traverse terrain where larger vehicles struggled or failed entirely. Beneath its minimalist bodywork, the Haflinger featured ingenious engineering that prioritized capability above all else. It used a tubular steel frame, independent suspension on all four wheels, and portal axles to maximize ground clearance. Its rear-mounted, air-cooled two-cylinder engine, derived from the Puch 500 microcar, produced only 24 to 30 horsepower, but the vehicle's feather-light 600-kilogram weight meant every ounce of power was efficiently used. The 4WD system was fully selectable, with locking differentials front and rear, and the 4-speed manual transmission included a crawl crawler gear that allowed the Haflinger to inch forward like a tractor over rocks, steep slopes, or snowfields. Its small wheels, low center of gravity, and extreme approach and departure angles allowed it to climb gradients of 45 degrees and ford rivers half a meter deep, feats that larger, more powerful trucks often failed to achieve. What truly made the Haflinger legendary was its real-world versatility and performance. The Austrian army deployed it for troop transport and supply missions in alpine passes where even mules struggled. Civilians quickly recognized its potential. Farmers, foresters, and mountain rescue teams used the Haflinger to reach remote locations with minimal fuel consumption. Some vehicles were adapted for airborne operations, lifted by helicopters or loaded into small transport aircraft, demonstrating the vehicle's unmatched portability. Enthusiasts who have driven a Haflinger often describe it as a 4x4 you wear like a backpack, every wheel working independently, every movement deliberate and precise. Beyond military and civilian use, the Haflinger inspired future off-road designs, including its larger successor, the Pinzgauer, proving that clever engineering could outperform brute force. Even today, over 60 years later, a well-maintained Haflinger can outclimb modern SUVs several times its size, a testament to its clever engineering, alpine-born ingenuity, and enduring legacy. The Haflinger proves that true off-road capability comes not from horsepower or luxury, but from design, balance, and mechanical purity. Number 8. Nissan Patrol 60 G60 series. In the 1960s, Nissan recognized a growing need for a rugged, reliable 4x4 that could handle the harsh conditions of the Australian outback, Middle Eastern deserts, and Africa's rough terrains. The result was the Patrol 60 series, later upgraded to the G60, a truck built not for luxury, but for endurance and off-road supremacy. From the start, the Patrol was designed to tackle where roads ended, carrying supplies, transporting people, and conquering remote landscapes with minimal fuss. Its simple, boxy design masked a machine that could endure extreme temperatures, rough trails, and heavy use, earning the Patrol a reputation among adventurers, military operators, and overland explorers as a vehicle you could rely on when everything else failed. Underneath its sturdy body, the Patrol 60 G60 combined proven engineering with practical design. Early models were powered by Nissan's inline-six engines, both petrol and diesel, tuned for torque rather than speed, delivering the low-end grunt needed to climb steep inclines or pull heavy loads through sand, mud, or rocky trails. Power went through a 4-speed manual transmission with a 2-speed transfer case, providing selectable 4-wheel drive for precise traction control. Solid axles front and rear, coupled with heavy-duty leaf springs, gave the Patrol exceptional load-bearing capability and articulation for difficult terrain. While it lacked the exotic features of European military trucks like portal axles, the Patrol made up for it with sheer durability, easy maintenance, and a chassis that could survive decades of hard use. Its approach and departure angles, combined with high ground clearance, allowed the truck to traverse obstacles that stopped less capable vehicles. The Nissan Patrol's real-world performance cemented its legendary status. In Australia, it became the go-to vehicle for cattle stations, mining operations, and overland expeditions. In the Middle East and Africa, it served military units and aid organizations operating far from paved roads. Enthusiasts often describe it as a trusty workhorse, slow, solid, and utterly dependable, a truck that can be repaired with basic tools even in remote locations. Over decades, the Patrol 60 G60 proved capable of carrying heavy equipment, fording rivers, climbing steep rocky trails, and enduring extreme heat or freezing cold without complaint. Many of these trucks are still in service today, decades after their production ended, often in some of the harshest environments on Earth. Its adaptability allowed it to be converted into camper vehicles, medical units, and even mobile communication centers, further proving the Patrol's unmatched versatility. Drivers often speak of it as a vehicle that keeps moving when everything else stops, a true testament to Nissan's philosophy of engineering for reliability, durability, and real-world capability. The Patrol 60 G60 series is proof that off-road excellence comes from simplicity, toughness, and intelligent design, rather than luxury or gadgets. Number 7. Toyota Land Cruiser 70 series. By the early 1980s, Toyota had already built a global reputation for durability with its Land Cruiser lineup, but many markets demanded something tougher than the increasingly refined wagons being sold to families and governments alike. In response, Toyota introduced the 70 Series Land Cruiser in 1984, a return to the brand's original philosophy of building vehicles for work, not comfort. Designed as a direct successor to the legendary 40 Series, the early J70 models were engineered to operate in the world's harshest environments, from African deserts and Australian outback trails to remote mountain regions where failure was not an option. Unlike luxury-oriented SUVs, the 70 Series was intended to be a long-term tool, capable of surviving years of abuse with minimal maintenance. Its boxy shape, exposed hinges, and utilitarian interior made its purpose clear from the moment it appeared. Underneath its straightforward exterior, the early J70 featured some of the most durable mechanical components Toyota had ever produced. Buyers could choose from a range of inline-six gasoline and diesel engines, including the famously reliable 2H and 3F power plants, both tuned for torque and longevity rather than outright performance. Power was delivered through a 4 or 5-speed manual transmission, paired with a part-time 4-wheel drive system and a low-range transfer case. Solid axles front and rear, suspended by heavy-duty leaf springs, gave the truck exceptional strength and load-carrying ability. While early models lacked factory-locking differentials in many markets, their traction came from precise gearing, excellent weight balance, and robust axles that could withstand extreme punishment. Ground clearance was generous, and the short overhangs provided strong approach and departure angles, allowing the J70 to tackle steep climbs, rocky trails, and deep ruts with confidence. What truly cemented the early Land Cruiser 70 Series as a legend was its performance in real-world conditions across the globe. Governments, aid organizations, mining companies, and military forces quickly adopted the J70 for its ability to operate reliably in remote areas with limited support. In Australia, it became a staple of outback travel and station work. In Africa and the Middle East, it was trusted for long-distance desert operations where mechanical failure could be fatal. Drivers valued the 70 Series for its predictability. It didn't surprise you, it simply kept moving. Its ability to endure extreme climates, carry heavy loads over rough terrain, and remain repairable with basic tools made it indispensable for expeditions and humanitarian missions alike. Enthusiasts today still chase early J70s for overland adventures, and many trucks continue operating decades later, testament to Toyota's philosophy of building vehicles to last a lifetime. While modern off-roaders rely on electronics and driver aids, the early Land Cruiser 70 Series proves that true capability comes from engineering designed for endurance. It isn't flashy, and it was never meant to be. It's simply one of the most dependable off-road trucks ever built. Number 6. Gaz 66 4x4. During the height of the Cold War, the Soviet Union faced a logistical challenge unlike that of most Western militaries, moving troops, equipment, and supplies across vast, undeveloped territory where roads were often nothing more than seasonal tracks. From frozen tundra and dense forests to deserts and mountain ranges, the Soviet army needed a light tactical truck that could operate reliably in extreme conditions with minimal maintenance. The answer was the Gaz 66, introduced in 1964 and destined to become one of the most widely used military off-road trucks in Soviet history. Nicknamed Shishiga by soldiers, the Gaz 66 was designed with one priority above all else: mobility across terrain where infrastructure barely existed. Its compact cab-over layout, high ground clearance, and unmistakable silhouette made it instantly recognizable, while its long production run, lasting until 1999, proved just how effective the design truly was. Beneath its simple exterior, the Gaz 66 featured engineering focused on rugged functionality rather than refinement. Power came from a 4.2 5-liter V8 gasoline engine, producing around 120 horsepower and tuned for low-end torque and reliability. The engine was paired with a 4-speed manual transmission and a 2-speed transfer case, sending power to all 4 wheels. One of the truck's most important features was its use of portal axles, which provided exceptional ground clearance and allowed the Gaz 66 to pass over obstacles that would stop conventional trucks. Solid axles front and rear, heavy-duty leaf springs, and a short wheelbase gave it impressive breakover angles and stability on uneven terrain. Some versions were equipped with a central tire inflation system, allowing the driver to adjust tire pressure from inside the cab, a critical advantage when transitioning between mud, snow, sand, and hard ground. The Gaz 66 wasn't fast or comfortable, but it was brutally effective off-road. What truly defined the Gaz 66 was its performance in real-world military service. Across multiple decades and climates. It became a backbone vehicle for Soviet and Warsaw Pact forces, serving as a cargo hauler, troop carrier, communications truck, and even a platform for specialized military equipment. The truck earned a reputation for being extremely capable off-road, able to cross deep mud, climb steep slopes, and operate in temperatures ranging from Arctic cold to desert heat. Its cab-over design placed weight directly over the front axle, improving traction on climbs, but also demanding respect from drivers due to its high center of gravity. After military service, thousands of GAZ-66 trucks found civilian use in forestry, mining, and remote industrial operations, where their simplicity and toughness were highly valued. Even today, surviving examples continue to impress off-road enthusiasts with their ability to tackle terrain that modern trucks approach with caution. The GAZ-66 stands as a reminder of a different engineering philosophy, one where vehicles were built not to impress, but to endure. Number 5. Dodge Power Wagon W300. In the aftermath of World War II, the American automotive industry faced a rare opportunity to translate battlefield durability into civilian machinery. Dodge was uniquely positioned for this moment, having built thousands of military trucks for the US Army during the war. Rather than reinventing the wheel, Dodge adapted its proven military platforms into a civilian workhorse that would redefine what a truck could do. Introduced in 1945, the Dodge Power Wagon became the first mass-produced civilian four-wheel drive pickup in the United States. Among its many variants, the W300 stood out as a heavy-duty machine built for extreme conditions. Long before off-roading became a hobby, or trucks became lifestyle vehicles, the Power Wagon was a tool designed to haul, pull, and survive in places where roads were unreliable or non-existent. Its production spanned decades, and in that time, it earned a reputation as one of the toughest trucks ever put on four wheels. Under its muscular, no-nonsense exterior, the W300 carried engineering directly descended from military hardware. Early models were powered by Dodge's legendary flathead inline-6, an engine known more for its torque and reliability than horsepower. Later versions received updated power plants, but the philosophy never changed. Low-end pulling power over speed. The drivetrain featured a 4-speed manual transmission paired with a 2-speed transfer case, delivering extremely low crawl ratios ideal for steep climbs and heavy loads. Solid axles, front and rear, mounted on heavy-duty leaf springs, gave the Power Wagon its unmistakable stance and durability. One of its most distinctive features was the availability of a front-mounted PTO-driven winch, capable of pulling the truck, or anything attached to it, out of nearly impossible situations. Ground clearance was generous, and the truck's short overhangs provided strong approach and departure angles. While the W300 lacked modern traction aids or locking differentials, its sheer mechanical grip and weight worked in its favor on rough terrain. What truly cemented the Dodge Power Wagon's legacy was its performance in real-world environments far removed from highways and cities. Utility companies, oil field operators, farmers, and forestry services relied on the Power Wagon to reach remote job sites year-round. In mountainous regions and undeveloped territories, it often served as the only vehicle capable of delivering supplies or towing equipment through mud, snow, and rock-strewn trails. The truck became especially popular in rural America, where reliability mattered more than comfort. Drivers learned to respect its size and weight, but also trusted it to keep moving when lighter vehicles failed. Even today, restored and well-preserved W300s are still used for hard work and extreme off-road driving, often outperforming modern pickups in low-speed, high-load conditions. The Dodge Power Wagon W300 stands as a symbol of an era when trucks were built for survival first, a machine forged from military roots and proven by decades of real-world use. Number 4. Kaiser Jeep M7 115. In the late 1960s, as the Vietnam War reshaped military logistics and exposed the limitations of existing tactical vehicles, the US Army needed a new generation of light military truck. World War II-era designs were aging, and the modern battlefield demanded something tougher, simpler, and easier to maintain. Kaiser Jeep answered this call by adapting its civilian Gladiator platform into a purpose-built military machine known as the M7 115. Introduced in 1967, the M715 looked familiar at a glance, but underneath its civilian-inspired body sat a truck engineered for punishment, built to haul troops, equipment, and weapons across jungles, deserts, and broken terrain. The M715 became part of the US military's effort to modernize its non-tactical vehicle fleet. Though its production run was short, ending in 1969, the M715 left behind a reputation far larger than its numbers suggest. Beneath its straightforward design, the Kaiser Jeep M715 was built with strength and simplicity in mind. Power came from a 230 cubic inch inline-six Tornado engine, producing around 130 horsepower, respectable for its time and tuned for torque rather than speed. The engine was paired with a 4-speed manual transmission and a 2-speed transfer case, delivering power to all 4 wheels. Unlike later military vehicles that relied heavily on specialized components, the M715 used a mix of military-grade and civilian hardware, making it easier to service in the field. Solid axles front and rear, heavy-duty leaf springs, and a fully boxed ladder frame gave the truck the ability to carry heavy loads over rough ground. While it lacked modern features like locking differentials or portal axles, the M715 compensated with rugged construction, generous ground clearance, and extremely low gearing that allowed it to crawl through mud, sand, and uneven terrain with confidence. Its top speed hovered around 55 mph, but off-road durability was always the priority. What truly defined the M715 was how it performed in real-world military service and in the decades that followed. In Vietnam, the truck was used primarily for transport and logistics, operating on rough roads, jungle tracks, and forward supply routes. Soldiers valued its toughness, but also learned its limits. The M715 demanded respect, especially when driven hard in extreme conditions. After its military service ended, many surplus M715s found second lives with civilians, farmers, and off-road enthusiasts who quickly realized how overbuilt the platform truly was. Today, the M715 is often modified with upgraded axles, engines, and drivetrains, but even in stock form, it remains an impressively capable off-road truck. Its raw mechanical nature and military pedigree have earned it a cult following, and on difficult terrain, a well-driven M715 can still surprise much newer and more sophisticated 4x4s. The Kaiser Jeep M715 stands as a reminder that off-road capability doesn't always come from complexity. Sometimes it comes from simple strength built for war. Number 3, Mercedes-Benz Unimog 404. In post-war Europe, as nations rebuilt their infrastructure and military forces, Germany faced a unique challenge: creating a vehicle that could serve as a truck, tractor, troop carrier, and off-road machine all at once. Mercedes-Benz had already laid the groundwork with earlier Unimog designs, but by the mid-1950s, the need for a more powerful and versatile version became clear. The result was the Unimog 404, introduced in 1955 and destined to become one of the most widely used military off-road trucks of the Cold War era. Built primarily for the German Bundeswehr, the 404 wasn't designed to impress civilians or compete with commercial pickups. It was built to operate anywhere: muddy farmland, bomb-damaged roads, deep forests, steep hills, and snow-covered terrain, often while carrying heavy equipment or towing artillery. Over its long production run, the Unimog 404 earned a reputation not just as a vehicle, but as a tool capable of adapting to almost any task imaginable. Underneath its utilitarian bodywork, the Unimog 404 featured engineering that set it apart from conventional trucks of its time. At its core was Mercedes-Benz's 2.2-liter inline-six gasoline engine, producing around 82 horsepower, modest numbers that hid the truck's true strength. Power was sent through a 4-speed manual transmission with a 2-range transfer case, giving the Unimog an unusually wide spread of gear ratios. Like other legendary Unimogs, the 404 used portal axles, providing outstanding ground clearance while keeping driveline components protected from damage. Coil spring suspension on solid axles allowed for impressive articulation, enabling the truck to keep all 4 wheels planted over uneven ground. With selectable 4-wheel drive, locking differentials, and extremely low gearing, the Unimog could crawl forward at walking speed while maintaining full control. It wasn't fast. Top speed was roughly 55 miles per hour, but off-road, it behaved less like a truck and more like a mechanical mountain climber. What made the Unimog 404 truly legendary was its performance in real-world service. More than 60,000 units were built, many of them serving for decades in military roles across Europe and beyond. It was used as a troop carrier, radio vehicle, ambulance, fire truck, truck, and even mobile workshop. Its ability to climb steep slopes, ford deep water, and traverse terrain that defeated conventional military trucks made it indispensable. Civilian versions later found homes with farmers, forestry services, expedition teams, and emergency responders who needed absolute reliability in remote areas. Drivers often described the Unimog 404 as slow, loud, and incredibly capable, a vehicle that doesn't rush but never stops. Even today, restored 404s are used in extreme off-road events and expeditions, where they continue to embarrass much newer 4x4s. The Unimog 404 stands as proof that true off-road capability isn't measured in speed or comfort, but in the ability to keep moving when everything else gives up. Number 2. Steyr-Puch Pinzgauer 710M. In the late 1960s, as Cold War tensions shaped military planning across Europe, Austria once again found itself designing vehicles not for speed or style, but for survival in the most unforgiving terrain imaginable. Steyr-Daimler-Puch had already shocked the world with the tiny Haflinger, proving that intelligent engineering could outperform size and power. But the Austrian military needed something larger, a vehicle capable of carrying troops, weapons, and supplies across mountains, forests, snowfields, and mud without sacrificing mobility. The answer was the Pinzgauer, named after a rugged alpine cattle breed known for strength and endurance. Introduced in 1971, the Pinzgauer 710M wasn't meant to replace conventional trucks. It was meant to go where conventional trucks simply could not. From the moment it entered service, the Pinzgauer gained a reputation as a machine that looked strange, sounded underpowered, yet performed feats that bordered on unbelievable. Over the next 2 decades, it would be adopted by military forces across Europe, the Middle East, and beyond, quietly becoming one of the most capable off-road transport vehicles ever built. At the heart of the Pinzgauer's ability was an engineering layout, unlike almost anything else on 4 wheels. Instead of a traditional ladder frame, the 710M used a central tubular backbone chassis, with drivetrain components protected inside the structure itself. This design dramatically increased strength while keeping critical parts safe from rocks and impacts. Like the Haflinger, the Pinzgauer featured portal axles, providing exceptional ground clearance without raising the center of gravity too high. Power came from an air-cooled inline 4-cylinder engine, producing around 90 horsepower. Again, not impressive on paper, but perfectly tuned for torque and reliability. The 4-speed manual transmission was paired with a low-range transfer case and locking differentials, allowing the 710M to crawl over obstacles with precise control. Independent suspension on all 4 wheels gave it remarkable articulation, enabling it to maintain traction where solid axle trucks lifted wheels helplessly into the air. With its lightweight, balanced design and extreme approach and departure angles, the Pinzgauer could climb steep slopes, traverse deep mud, and cross broken terrain that stopped much larger vehicles. What truly cemented the Pinzgauer's legend was how it performed in real military and civilian service. The Austrian army used it extensively in alpine regions where conventional trucks struggled or failed outright. Other nations soon followed, including Switzerland, the UK, and several Middle Eastern forces, valuing the Pinzgauer for its reliability and off-road reach. British military units later deployed Pinzgauers in harsh environments, ranging from frozen training grounds to desert operations, where the vehicle proved tough, easy to repair, and remarkably resilient. Civilian versions found use with mountain rescue teams, utility companies, and expedition groups who needed absolute mobility rather than speed. Drivers often described the Pinzgauer as feeling mechanically alive, every wheel working independently, every movement deliberate and controlled. Even today, decades after production ended, a well-maintained 710M can outmaneuver many modern 4x4 trucks in technical terrain. The Pinzgauer stands as proof that true off-road capability isn't about size, horsepower, or luxury. It's about intelligent design, balance, and engineering built for places where maps end and roads disappear. Number 1. Volvo C303. In the frozen forests and military proving grounds of Sweden during the late 1960s, Volvo faced a challenge few civilian manufacturers would ever encounter. How do you design a vehicle that can operate reliably in deep snow, boggy marshland, dense forests, and sub-zero temperatures year after year? The Swedish armed forces needed a light tactical transport capable of moving troops and equipment across terrain where roads were unreliable or completely non-existent. What emerged from this requirement was the Volvo C303, officially designated TGB-11, a vehicle so unconventional and purpose-built that many people today struggle to believe it was ever mass-produced. Introduced in the early 1970s, the C303 was never meant for comfort or speed. It was engineered solely for mobility, durability, and survival. Its tall stance, squared military body, and unusual proportions made it look more like a field prototype than a consumer vehicle. Yet between 1974 and 1984, thousands were produced and deployed across Scandinavia and beyond. Beneath its boxy exterior, the Volvo C303 revealed one of the most serious off-road drivetrains ever fitted to a light military truck. Its defining feature was the use of portal axles at all four corners, dramatically increasing ground clearance by keeping the differentials well above rocks, logs, and deep ruts. Power came from Volvo's proven B30 inline-6 gasoline engine, producing around 125 horsepower, modest by modern standards, but perfectly matched to the truck's ultra-low gearing and heavy-duty drivetrain. The C303 featured full-time four-wheel drive, locking differentials front and rear, and a rugged manual transmission paired with a low-range transfer case. This setup allowed it to crawl with remarkable control over uneven terrain while carrying substantial loads. Despite its height, the truck remained stable thanks to its wide track and carefully balanced weight distribution. It could climb steep gradients, wade through deep water, and maintain traction in snow, where lighter vehicles often failed. Speed was never the priority. The C303 topped out at roughly 60 miles per hour, but off-road it felt relentless. What truly defined the Volvo C303 was its real-world performance under extreme conditions. In Swedish military service, it routinely operated in snow depths exceeding a meter, transporting troops, communications equipment, and supplies through forests and tundra where wheeled vehicles were rarely trusted. Civil defense and rescue units relied on it for emergency response in remote regions, while international military evaluations reportedly found its off-road capability comparable to, and in certain terrain, more confidence-inspiring than larger utility vehicles. Enthusiasts who have driven a C303 often describe it as slow, loud, and completely unstoppable. With no electronic aids, no traction control, and no selectable driving modes, it relies entirely on mechanical grip, gearing, and driver input. Even decades after production ended, well-maintained C303s continue to outclimb and outcrawl many modern off-roaders. It stands as a reminder that true off-road capability doesn't come from screens or software. It comes from engineering built for the worst conditions on Earth. True off-road capability comes from engineering, balance, and durability. These trucks conquered terrain that would stop modern pickups cold. Which one would you take off-road first? Comment below. Subscribe for more legendary vehicles you've probably never seen.